really dreading wanting to come here to do this because I'm just so frustrated right now with all this stuff that I've been having to deal with, trying to get my stuff back in order. But the longer I keep putting it off, the further behind I'm just going to keep making myself, and I'm already so far behind right now that it's almost a situation where I just don't even know why I want to bother anymore. But be that as it may, when you're passionate about things, you just have this drive and this urge to just divest yourself of all the stuff that's bottled up inside of you. Otherwise, it just keeps building up and building up and building up, and without a little steam vent or anything to kind of help regulate the pressure or anything, it's enough to drive you, I would say batty, but I don't want anybody to think that I'm ready for a straitjacket just yet. I might be before too long, so hope springs eternal. But I wanted to address mainly what's been keeping me out of the limelight for so long. And of course, as most are aware, the thing that happened to me shortly after I had gotten myself reestablished online was I had this little remarkable thing happen with my computer system that in and of itself wasn't so much the bad, terrible thing, but it was sending it to these repair people that just for whatever reason the universe decided to troll me out of. I still have no clue as to why, and I'm still not entirely 100% fixed in that department because I have other little issues that are going on, and of course I bring it to these folks and I keep asking them about it, and they're still giving me the typical, well, we don't know what's wrong and whatnot. And I'm like, why in the world are these people in business, and why have they been around for so long, and why are they such prominent icons in this particular area where they just, it's just, I just don't get it. I don't know. But I've been doing everything I could to circumvent them because the fact that it makes absolutely no sense that for what I needed to have done could have been done at less than half the price and clearly in way less than half the time. So I got a little greedy. Yes, I'll admit it, when I let them talk me into putting a fresh motherboard into the thing. And I thought, well, hey, okay, upgrade, what, you can't get any better than that, right? But they put the upgraded board in there, but they set things up to where if I had not bothered to look into it to get a sense of what everything looked like with all the new configurations and everything, they had essentially set me up to have the thing destroy itself just the moment that I actually turned the thing on, and thus began just this endless runaround to where eventually my hard drive kicked out on me, so I had to end up replacing that. What was this other thing that totally went on the fritz? I got a replacement on my conked out hard drive because it was still under warranty, thankfully, and made a clone of that, and that's not working over so well either, and it's just been one major massive headache. So by the time that things were beginning to look up to where I could actually reaccess my own system, as haphazardous as things were, I've lost a number of files and there was stuff that I had to try to find and replace, and I just kept trying to rescue myself from where I just found myself in the grip of having to get so busily caught up and finding out that I just haven't really been able to get a full grasp on everything. But in the interim, I was finding that, well, I'm making enough advances and I'm doing enough refinements to where it's getting to where now I can finally get back on my little system and I can stop messing around with my girlfriend's laptop, which, lo and behold, that's having issues of its own now. So, as I said, the timing of everything, it just makes me feel like the universe is just trolling me in order to keep me off of line. And I could speculate as to why, but then I would start to sound like a conspiracy theorist, and I don't really want to go down that path right now. But needless to say, after all that I was able to get done, and I am by no means caught up. I still am swamped with a whole backlog of stuff that I need to do. Have files I need to reclaim and others I need to get back in order, and all these other additional things which came as a result of my finally making this declaration saying that, hey, I think I'm good. I'm ready to get up here and start doing my own thing and going to my own files and having my own records and appealing to all this and getting ready to just throw it all back out there and get back into the mix again. As ill prepared as I am, but let's get this ball rolling. Let's get started up again. And then this happened. And so this was essentially what kept me from making the full comeback as I had originally intended. Because after this little threat, on top of all the other threats that we've had to deal with Google throughout this history of their ownership of this service, and seeing what trash they're actually going to force us to contend with and deal with, I had finally decided that enough was enough, and the time for making threats of my own are over. So if they want to keep threatening by switching up our channels and changing them around and taking away all these nice features and everything that we all got so used to, and that we just keep screaming and hollering and complaining, stop doing this to us every 2 or 3 months that we go along. You want to take our little personal channels. What you do with the rest of the site is really irrelevant. But you give us a personal channel for a reason, because it gives us a personality. That's what it's all about. A way for us to express ourselves, to express our individuality, to express our own creativity. And yet this is how you keep dogging us, that every time that we find something that we really like and respect and appreciate about, if nothing else, how our own little personal individual channels are supposed to be set up, and you don't even give us that. So that essentially lets us know that you really don't give a shit about us, Google. And it's not YouTube. It hasn't been YouTube for what year is this now? And so this really has descended and devolved into Who-tube, because whoever it is behind this tube, it sure as hell ain't you. You got taken out of this picture a long time ago, sweetie. Google saw fit to that. This whole pretense of giving you and giving you and giving you and giving you, when in actuality all they're doing is taking from you and taking from you and taking from you, on top of invading your privacy, selling your information, all that good happy stuff. So as soon as I was about ready to get back on into the swing of things here, up pops this devil. And by the time they had said, what was it, 10 days or whatever the heck it was, 12 days, something like that, when they started essentially saying, hey, if you don't like the new channel designs, fuck you, we're going to force you into them anyway. Which makes you wonder, why the hell do you bother asking us to try out the new design, and if we don't like the design we can always switch back to the previous one, only to keep telling us with their middle finger stuck up right in our noses, hey, we don't care if you don't like it, we're going to force you into it anyway. We don't care that you liked what came before that, and which you only took reluctantly because you liked what came before that one, which you took reluctantly because you liked what came before that one. Each and every time they keep playing this game with us, they keep throwing this shit in our face. I decided I don't want shit thrown in my face anymore. I want to be able to express myself and express my individuality on my own terms. And so when they decided that, look, it's a done deal, we don't care what you think, we don't care what you like, we don't care what issues that you have with these setups that we're giving you, we're going to do whatever the hell we want to do, you can just take it or leave it. And after seeing the horse shit that they were going to give us this time, you thought they would have done the smart thing and reverted back to at least the previous setup. But no, they had to give us this, how are they even referring to this thing? Share across your multiple devices or whatever excuse that they use to take our personality out of this service. But it's YouTube and they give it to you for free. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it if you don't want to use it. Yeah, we heard that those excuses from all these sellouts and these ass suckers. So yeah, we get that point. And so I figured, okay, time to practice what I preach. I've been threatening for a long time that I'm going to try to find a way to circumvent Google as far as trying to use their service. Now, unfortunately, there's no way of getting around that completely, because as far as a hosting service goes, it's still the best thing going. I hate to admit it, but it's the truth until somebody comes up with something better, or when these other services get their act together and try to become something like what F.U.Y.T used to be when it was called YouTube. But if this is what it comes down to, then at the very least, very least, I get to dictate terms as to how people interact with me on what I consider my personal channel. So I may still have to use this service for uploading and for putting all these new little projects up and everything, but I can have a choice as to how people get to them. And so here's my solution, or at least here's what was going to be my solution originally. Because I figured if Google didn't want to give us what we all pretty much said that we enjoyed from the start, and that this was pretty much the best setup that they had at the time, and if you just leave it at this, we're going to be alright. And again, they stuck the middle finger in our faces, said F you. Well, I made sure that I saved the code so that when I got intense enough to where I didn't want to play this game anymore, I was going to try to spend some time learning some deep HTML and JavaScript and all these other little niceties in order to redesign my personal web pages. And in fact, I was planning on actually having my own personal web page with my own domain name and every blasted thing else. I was seriously and with great emphasis looking deeply into that. And this was what I was going to go with initially. I figured if Google doesn't want us to have it anymore, they gave up the rights to it when they decided they didn't want to use this as their design platform for our personal channels anymore, so I may as well co-opt it. But then I got to thinking. I said, why in the hell would I even want to do that? Why should I even want to acknowledge them at this point? If I'm going to do something where I have my own personal feel and my own personal creativity that's reflective of my character and something about how I feel like I'm expressing myself in a way that makes me feel like I have some real say-so in the matter, then why even do this? And so even though it's not to where I'm going to be getting myself my own website, main reason for that is because all the domain names that I could have even possibly have imagined that I wanted for my domain name have all been snatched up, and of course every single one of them are just being squatted on. They're not being used for anything except to say that somebody got it and they're depriving you of it. So that's not a viable option at this point. So I did with the next best thing, and I figured, well, okay, since I'm not really that prominent anyway, why don't I just go ahead and just take advantage of another free service that I've been using, that I've been familiar with for quite a while, and just translate that into becoming my new channel page, my personal channel page, which will act as a hub to videos that I post on F.U.Y.T. And so in order for anybody to interact on that level, as far as having a channel where they can interact and where they can get the latest updates and everything that I have posted has been placed in the category of unlisted, so they're not going to be available for public viewing, and the only way to access those archives are going to be through my own personal channel page hubs. No other way. The only video that anybody is going to have free access to on F.U.Y.T is going to be, I want whatever new video uploads that I have posted to be viewable in my channel domains. So I want to circumvent Google from actually being the hub for even viewing the featured videos that I'm uploading. So in order to view those, the idea is once my subscribers or anybody who cares to follow is aware of a new upload, the URL is going to be placed in an update. See, the only public uploads that I'll be posting on F.U.Y.T will be announcements stating that there's a new video upload on channel whatever the channel is on, and to view it, go to my channel page, the Tropical Storm. That's where my newest uploads will be. That's where all my archives will be able to be accessed. All the stuff is still on YouTube. There's no getting around that. But I will do something to ensure that I can avoid them getting any more traffic on their site because of somebody thinking that they're going to come to my channel page and see all my stuff. No, screw you. You want to see what's on my channels? You got to come to my channels now. This is what I set up for myself, thumbing my nose and flipping my fingers at YouTube and Google, because enough is enough. It's time for us to express our real individuality. And so if every change that Google keeps throwing in our faces saying, well, this is for you to be more creative and more self-expressive about yourself, and it's always turned out to be a bombastic lie each and every time, well, it's time that we let Google know that, look, no more being hit in the face with dog shit and then trying to tell me that you're having a snowball fight with me. No, that doesn't work anymore. Now I get to determine where my videos are viewable, from what hub they're viewable from, because they're essentially letting us know that we don't matter. You don't matter. If they had a choice in it, and who knows, given enough time, they probably will actually come around and do this, but they just might scratch the word you out of YouTube altogether and just call it tube. They may as well, because you are not relevant to their game plan anymore. You know, this has been in the works for a long time. Mr. Black has been trying to say this for ages, and people just kept brushing him off as conspiracy theory Looney Tunes. But look at how everything just came to pass, just as he had predicted. So, I'm taking my stand now. I don't want anybody going to my YouTube channel anymore, because it's not a YouTube channel, it's a Who-tube channel. And if it's going to be who, then I want people to know who is going to be in control here, and who is going to be General Backlash / Kid Brother / New Talented 10th. And I'm only going to be accessible off of YouTube's site. So anything that's new that's going to be hosted on my channel, or more accurately listed and accessible on my channel, because I can't host anything on there. I only have so much disk space that they'll allow me, and bandwidth and all that other good stuff that I'm able to make use of. So I'm not going to be having a site where I can host anything. I'll still have to be utilizing WhoTube for that purpose, unfortunately. But as much as I can circumvent anybody away from having to interact on that channel, I'll do it. And this is the way I'll be doing it. So the only things that I'll be showing as my feature video will be the update announcements, which reveal which video is being uploaded on which channel. So if you go to T10, there will be an announcement on T10 saying that a new upload has been uploaded and it's made available. Go to the Tropical Storm and view it on that website's T10 channel. If it's a V1984, same thing. New upload, now viewable at V1984 at the Tropical Storm. But WhoTube does not get my support anymore. At this point, I'm just using them. Because if I don't matter anymore, then neither should them. Check out my quote trailer unquote on this new outlook that I have now, and I challenge anyone to join me in this revolution. Whether it's you get your own domain name and your own hosting site, or if you use a little free ad-supported service like the one that I'm using. But however you do it, it's time that we declared our independence and remind Google who made YouTube. Maybe they'll get their act together and actually listen to us for a change. I wouldn't hold my breath, but you never know. But at the very least, I get some personal satisfaction out of the idea of not playing the game their way anymore.